well. So thank you very much. And we wanted to talk a little bit this morning about how colleges and universities can work more closely with the business communities in their areas and the larger community as a whole. We have three different perspectives on this. First, we'll have Dr. Charles Johnson. He's the Dean of our School of Technology at Dalton State, and he'll talk about how they use local business leaders to help inform program decisions. And then we have Joanne Berry from the State Office of Work Ready, and she'll talk about how the Work Ready program operates around the state and how to become a Work Ready community and what the point of that is and how schools fit in. And then Sue Chapman will talk, she's from the University of Georgia's Archway Partnership, and she'll talk about what the Archway Partnership is about and how they work in different communities to promote economic development around the state and how schools come together with businesses in that initiative. So I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and use the most of their time. Each one will present, and we'll have a little bit of time for questions after that, and then we'll have, I hope, maybe a little bit of time for questions at the end.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Johnson. I'm Dean for the School of Technology, and that's really maybe enough of an introduction. The one exciting thing is so let's see, the one thing that's exciting about me is I met Davy from Albany State, and she has the same name, or my granddaughter has her same name. So it was kind of fun. That was the only other Davy I've met, so I'm excited to tell my son about that. But what I want to do today is talk to you about Dalton State College and the School of Technology because, you know, we have all these different institutions and there are people here that may not know about our particular institution. So I want you to kind of have that perspective of when you walk in the mall and you see that kiosk that says you are here, then you'll know where we are. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about Dalton State College School of Technology. Then I want to talk a little bit about advisory committees, and I want to talk about work experience, internship, that sort of thing. So those are our three main topics. So let me start with Dalton State College. We're an access institution. We're about 6,000 students. We're way up in the, let's see, from where you're sitting, let's see, there's the state. Think of this corner, far up in the northwest corner of the state. In fact, we're a sort of a stone's throw. I guess you could, what is chunking a stone? I don't know. Anyway, we're a stone's throw from Alabama, which will be over to our west. We're a stone's throw from Chattanooga and Tennessee, which is to our north. And we're very fortunate because I always like to say we've got oceanfront property. Now, what I call oceanfront property, obviously, I've never had a beach place, so I don't really know what oceanfront property is. But we're right on I-75, which is wonderful because the majority of our students commute, and to have a major artery like that is great for getting students to our campus. We're right at exit 333, so if you need to stop or you just want to stop, come by and see us. I typically have coffee on. You'll get free coffee. Will that do it? And a restroom. So come see us. We'd love to have you. Seriously, always enjoy visitors coming and seeing us. We've got a beautiful, beautiful campus. So that's a little bit about Dalton State College. Now, we've traditionally been a bit of a Swiss Army knife institution. And what I mean by that is we've had a wide variety of programs. And there's probably a variety of reasons for that, but I'll just name a couple. One, we're in the Appalachian region. And we're in the lower part of the Appalachian region, and that area is really known for making stuff. In fact, if you take Dalton and go out about 65 miles, within a 65-mile radius around Dalton, 80% of the carpet in the U.S. is made in that area. Amazing, isn't it? Another little-known fact, over 50% of the manufacturing jobs in Georgia are up in that northwest region. We oftentimes don't think about that, but a huge amount of manufacturing up in that region of the state. Now, so we've got some good things. We're known for making things. There's also some issues that come with being in an Appalachian region, and we're typical of Appalachian regions. One being that we have typically had some disadvantages in terms of education. So if you look even within Georgia, our area of the state, we're a couple of percentage points behind on high school completion. We're a couple of percentage points behind on college completion. So there are some challenges. And Dalton State College is sort of at the nexus of all of that, and we do everything we can to help with that educational attainment and economic development in our part of the state. So that's Dalton State College and kind of what we do in that part of the state. Let me talk about School of Technology, and that's what I'm involved in. We have about 1,500 students. So when you talk about economic development, our institution as a whole, in the School of Technology, we do a lot to educate people in our region. The School of Technology has about 36 broad program areas. You could categorize those into 13 major categories, if you will. We've got a School of Health Occupation, a Department of Health Occupations and a Department of Technical Studies. So there's actually a School of Technology and Health, if you think about it, because we have both those areas. In health occupations, we have programs like respiratory therapy, radiologic technology, medical lab technology, and the list goes on. On the Department of Technical Studies side, we have technical graphics and 3D design, IT, supervision, and the list goes on. Have a great placement rate for our students. Most students are gainfully employed once they graduate. I never say 100%. I've been an educator too long. There's always people, you don't walk in with them to be interviewed, so I never say it's 100%, but we have a very, very good placement rate, and most of our people do go into the workforce if they're not already working in the workforce. So that's a little bit about our school. Now, why a School of Technology? Why a School of Technology? And I want you to think about this, because in your schools, you're involved in all kinds of technology, but sometimes we think of technology as just being computers these days. And there's various kinds of ways I could go about telling you or helping you to understand this idea about technology and its importance, but I think what I'll do is let me take the back 4 rows here and 4 rows here. And anybody ever read Alvin Toffler's Future Shock? It's an old book from the 70s. Toffler had a great way of explaining technology's impact on change. And what Toffler said is what we want to do is we want to look at 50,000 years divided up into 800 lifetimes, each lifetime being 62 years. Okay? So, with that in mind, okay, Sandy, am I going to put you on the spot? Yeah, you're here. I'm going to help you with this. Now, we just want to have fun. I'm not going to put you on the spot. So you don't even need to be mic'd. It's going to be that easy. It's that easy. We want you to feel good. We want you to feel good about this. So we're talking 800 lifetimes. So the first 100 lifetimes, back 50,000 years, how do you think people were living? If they weren't living in houses, they weren't living in huts, they were living up on the side of a mountain, they were living in, starts with a C. There we go. See, I told you this was going to be easy. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I just want you to feel good about being here. Oh, well, 1, 2, oh, I didn't count right, did I? So anyway, that's okay. We'll keep going. So living in caves. Sandy, thanks. You got it right. So 200 lifetimes ago, how do you think people were living? Now, I don't want you to think too much about this. How do you think they were living? It started with a C again. It got close. Well, it's C and an S, but it sounds just like the other one. In fact, it is cave. See, it's an easy grade. It's an easy grade with me. What about 300 lifetimes? Don't think too hard. Caves, okay, 400 lifetimes. Caves, 500 lifetimes. In fact, what Toppler says is that for 650 lifetimes, going back 50,000 years, for 650 lifetimes, people lived in caves. Now, watch what happened. What he said was about 70 lifetimes ago, so we're talking about just a small span, 70 lifetimes ago, did we have any ability to communicate in writing between one generation and the next, or one lifetime and the next? It's only been in the last 6 lifetimes that the majority of people have seen the printed word, or the masses will say, saw the printed word. It's only been in the past 4 lifetimes that we've had any accurate measure of time. It's only been in the last 2 lifetimes since we've had an electric motor. The point Toppler's making is that most of the technology surrounding us today was created in this, what he's calling the 800th lifetime. Amazing, isn't it? So what that means is our manufactured clothing, this constructed building, all of the technology, everything around us except for almost our physical form and maybe some natural fabric and a few plants, all of it is due to technology. Technology impacts the rate of change. It's a driver of change. It's the major driver of change in our world today. It's increasingly complex. It's increasingly important for jobs. It's critical when you think about economic development. So think about that. That's a very, very big deal when you begin to think critically about how can our programs help in economic development and help our people move into careers. Okay. So enough about that. Hope anybody not get that point? That was pretty, see, very, very obvious, right? I'm an obvious guy. So that's a little bit about School of Technology. A couple of programs, and we're all about technology. Lots of technology in our programs. Oh, and by the way, close relationship with industry. We work very, very closely with industry through our advisory committees. We deliver courses in businesses whenever they so desire. So we're linked up very closely, and we do everything we can to help our local businesses and organizations in regards to economic development. Now, that's the first thing. I want to talk with you about 2 other things, okay? One is advisory committees, and the other one is internships. And advisory committees, I'll let you know that all of our programs have advisory committees on the health side and on the technical studies side. And on those advisory committees sit people from all kinds of businesses and organizations within our community. And it's a wonderful thing because they provide all kinds of feedback to us about our program and also about our graduates that help inform us about what we want to do with our programs. So advisory committees can really be a good thing. But what I like to do also is, if you're thinking about advisory committees, I think it's good to go into this with, you know, a full slate of information. And the other piece of this is, be careful if it's going to be an advisory committee. Make sure it is actually advisory and that people know it's advisory, because there are policymaking boards. I served on one. And that was our business. We made policy. But there are a lot of advisory committees, and they really should be advisory, and they're kind of structured that way, but they don't learn the ground rules from the get-go, and they become policy-making boards. They actually are building the curriculum for you. They kind of micromanage your organization. And so be careful about that, because I always say we are in education, we're the curriculum experts. And if it's an advisory committee, they need to know that it's an advisory function and not a policy-making function, okay? So that's one thing. Make sure they know they're advisory, if in case that's the case. And one other thing, sometimes with advisory committees, be careful when you're doing curriculum development, because sometimes advisory committees are a little like looking in the rearview mirror. They are they are chosen based on your existing program. They're not chosen based on perhaps where your program's moving to. So advisory committees are great to get information about your region, about things you need to do in your program, and I think that's wonderful. But curriculum developers also have to think about what's happening nationally. What are the experts saying? What are the projections about the field? Looking at some of the research, and educators are the best ones to do that. And then, yes, we take very seriously what our advisory committees say, but then we put all of that together and come up with curriculum that way. Now, what I do instead of an advisory committee, and I may use members of my advisory committee, but when I'm looking at program changes, we use focus groups. And so we bring in experts from all around the community, and we spend a day or more, and we just focus on a topic. And what do those experts in that area think? So I hope that helps a little bit, and there's some cautionary notes concerning advisory committees. Now let's talk about internships. And internships, as you know, are work experiences out in businesses and various kinds of organizations. Could be called internships, could be work experiences, clinicals. Some of these are required. For example, on our health side and our health programs, a lot of the clinicals are required part of the program. It's required as part of the accreditation. And so one of the wonderful things about all of these programs is it gives us a direct connection out into organizations. Our people can, learn the theory, et cetera, then they can go out and actually work in the field and see what it's like. It also gives business an opportunity to look at our folks and maybe pick some of our best and brightest for their company to help them. So we oftentimes, when we have those kinds of programs, those people tend to go into those companies once, if they're a good fit for that particular company. So I think those are great things about internships. Now, I don't have this at my present institution because we don't do a lot of internships at the present moment, but based on my experience in education and in coordinating other programs, I'll give you a cautionary note concerning internships. Sometimes it's not a one-size-fits-all. I had a printing and publishing program where I had a required co-op experience. And that worked great early on in the program because a lot of our students were residential students. They were taking full loads, worked out great. More and more, as I'm sure has happened with you, as tuition has gone up and up and up, students are working. Of course, we have a lot of students coming back from the workplace that are still working and they're going to school as well, but you have a lot of students that are working part-time and going to school. And they've oftentimes been in that job several years. So what do you do about an internship? I mean, if it's a required part of a program, do you then have them leave their other job and do the internship? And sometimes they make a huge sacrifice for themselves and their family when they do that because they can lose several dollars per hour in doing that. So one of the things that I like is perhaps optional internships, but another way to do that is maybe to build in R&D within your programs where your students can go out and work with businesses and organizations in special project situations. And then that doesn't require them to take off a semester to do a specific kind of internship. So again, it depends on your student population, but be very, very careful when you implement this for an entire program because it might have some ramifications for students that are working. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Dalton State, School of Technology, advisory committees, internships, and I'm going to pass the baton on to the next person.
Okay, good. My name is Joanne Berry from the Governor's Office of Workforce Development. I am the Deputy Director of External Affairs, and I oversee the 159 counties involved in the Work Ready initiative. Yes, it's a tough job. And just on a personal note, I am also an adult educator, so I have a love for adult education. I've been with the Technical College System of Georgia since 2004 at Griffin Technical College when it was Griffin Tech, now Southern Crescent Tech. I currently teach at Multi-Tech. I taught at the Interactive College of Technology, so I'm a lover of technology as well. I understand technology. But what I'm talking about today is the Georgia Work Ready initiative, and it can benefit businesses in Georgia. It can benefit individuals, and we're going to see how that can happen. Just a quick overview. My emphasis today is going to be on how work-ready communities work. At the core of work-ready communities are work-ready certificates. In addition, when a person earns their work-ready certificate, they can improve their certificate level through skills gap training. So I'll talk about that. We'll talk about job profiles produced by business and industry for the work-ready program and how it benefits them. And then ultimately, we'll look at quickly regional strategies for the work-ready initiative. The work-ready initiative, workforce development, the vision began with a previous administration and continues with the current administration. And that vision is to link workforce development and education, align it to the economic needs of businesses, needs of the state, its regions, and its communities. And this is just a quick look at the hierarchy for the Work Ready initiative. At the basis of it, what drives the Work Ready initiative is Work Ready certificates, high school graduation rate increase for all counties, Work Ready job profiling done by business and industry. Also, business and industry certify their or take their employees to get the Work Ready assessment. All right, and ultimately that will lead to certified counties. All right, certified counties serve as the basis for certified Work Ready regions. Key initiative elements in the Work Ready program: certified Work Ready communities, Work Ready regions, supported by business development. Certified Work Ready communities are counties that have produced a certain number of Georgians in their counties that are Work Ready certified. So they meet Work Ready certificate goals. They have reached a high school graduation rate goal, and I'm going to show you in a second how those goals are determined. The Work Ready Regions initiative is an industry-led strategy used to identify the needs of businesses, ultimately to produce that talented work pool that businesses can draw from over the long term to stay ahead of the competition, all right, and to ultimately draw in businesses from all over the country, right, if not the world. Business development, mentioned those job profiles, mentioned those work-ready certificates, but we want for business development to ultimately lead to businesses becoming work-ready facilities. That means that they hire work-ready, okay, and they help their employees to become work-ready assessed and earn their work-ready certificate. Work-ready is used as a promotional tool in their facilities as well. So how does certified work-ready communities work? With what I described as the drivers of the Work Ready initiative, Work Ready communities submit what we call a letter of intent. All right? This letter of intent is, it outlines the county's goals, and what comes with that letter of intent that's submitted is support letters from the various agencies in the county as well as businesses. Okay? To date, there are 155 out of 159 counties participating. So we still have 4 yet to come on board, but we're all working together to get them on board. So specifically, counties are given a 3-year timeline after they submit their letter of intent. Now, in the past, and Work Ready is really new because it began in 2006 and really kicked off in 2007. But the 3-year timeline was reduced for some counties who received grants, assistance grants to get them certified. Some counties were set on a 12-month timeline, an 18-month timeline, okay, but the standard is 3 years. But counties must demonstrate a commitment to the initiative. And the team of, we create what we call Work Ready teams. This Work Ready team consists of economic development, government, and education partners, all right, to help the county become certified. The goals are calculated based on a county's size, and that size is based on population. A certain percentage of their existing workforce in a county An existing workforce consists of private and public industries or categories. If a county, for instance, was a small county, 3% of their existing workforce would need to be certified. And then for available workforce, 25% of a small county's available workforce would need to be certified. Available workforce consists of college, technical college, high school graduates, high school seniors, unemployed, GED, okay? When a person takes the work-ready assessment, they indicate which category they're under, and all of this is recorded. Public high school graduation rate increase, we determine how many additional students must graduate each year in order for the county to meet this goal. At-risk students are targeted. Graduation coaches help assist these at-risk students to graduate and ultimately help to lead to increased high school graduation rates. This data is recorded and published, if you will, for lack of a better word, monthly. The progress in each county as far as how many certificates they have earned in platinum, gold, silver, bronze, in the various categories is recorded. All counties have access to this information. They can look at their own progress. They can look at another county's progress, perhaps a healthy competition. Okay. To date, we have 102 certified work-ready communities, and those are the counties that you see there in silver. All right. 4, the brown counties that you see, have met their certificate goal and are still working to meet their high school graduation rate goal. The 4 counties that you see without names listed are the counties that we are assisting to come on board. We are helping them to help us in the initiative. And there are 49 counties still in progress to become certified. Now, when a county becomes certified, it doesn't stop there. We want them to continue to be certified, so they enter what we call a recertification phase. And an additional number of certificates or a certain additional percentage of certificates based on their initial goal is added. So let's say 1/3 of their initial goal, they've met their 100%, now they need to reach an additional 1/3% of their initial goal. Once they finish that recertification process, they move on to a sustainability process where it must continue. Okay, so it's well planned out, well thought out to exist in the long term. So at the core of it, Work Ready Certificate, how does this work? For Work Ready Certificates, our service delivery providers is the Technical College System of Georgia through technical colleges. Now, it depends on each county as well, because though the technical colleges are throughout the state of Georgia, some counties decide to set up labs in even their Chamber of Commerce. It exists in other schools, definitely high schools, because seniors are assessed for the Work Ready Certificate. So there are various service delivery providers, but service delivery provider officially for the Governor's Office of Workforce Development is the Technical College System of Georgia through their economic development offices. The Work Ready Certificate is free for any Georgian, any adult Georgian, okay? The Technical College administers the assessments and sets up skills gap training accounts for Georgians who want to increase their certificate level. And the Technical College also offers job profiling services to businesses for a small fee, okay, for the work-ready assessment. I'll get into job profiles a little bit in another minute or two. But ultimately, the work-ready certificate is made possible by the nationally accredited WorkKey system and produced by the American College Testing Program, otherwise known as ACT, right? The ACT also is responsible for mapping and certifying job profiles. But individuals are assessed for their foundational skills, applied math, locating for information, reading for information, and these are the 3 that we've learned are what businesses look for when they want to hire, all right? Once they receive their work-ready certificate, they take that. It's a tool used in addition to the traditional education or technical education that a person earns at a technical college, at a university, et cetera. It's free of charge to individuals, small fee for businesses to assess their employees. The staff is volunteer throughout the state of Georgia. The Work Ready team for each county, they are not paid. No one's on a full-time payroll, okay? Volunteer staff support, they are so much very appreciated, all right? Free online skills gap training. Should a person earn that certificate for free, they can go back and train to better themselves. Now, when we say free, it's free up to 3 times a year per section, okay? If a person took the Work Ready assessment and didn't quite get the level that they wanted, after the 3rd time, they would need to wait a year. But you can contact your local technical help if you want to know more details about that. The Georgia Work Ready certificate, the person earns the certificate based on their lowest level earned, and it accurately reflects to businesses your actual skills. So if you've earned a platinum in math and reading, good for you. But if you've earned that platinum, which is a 6, in applied math and reading for information, but you earned a 4, which is silver, in locating for information, ultimately you'll receive a silver certificate. All right? You can sign up for skills gap training, work on that skills gap training, and go back to earn, let's say, hopefully you can earn a 6 in locating information. You will have 3 6s, and that'll make you a platinum Work Ready certificate holder. And that means when you earn a platinum, let's say that would mean that you are qualified to work in about 95% of jobs. Earning a gold, I think about 90%. Don't quote me exactly on that. I'll need to get back with you on that. But it's in that 90 percentage area. Silver, I think about 80% of jobs. Okay, so it's really an excellent tool. The Work Ready certificate, this is a picture of it. All right. To date, more than 225,000 Georgians have earned a Work Ready certificate. And that's really good because the Work Ready program has grown exponentially. Again, it started in 2006, 2007. It really began to kick off. Initially, there were about 1,000 people that earned a Work Ready certificate in a month. And then it was 2,000. And then it was 5. And then it was 10. But from January 2010 to January 2011, almost 90,000 Georgians in that 1-year period have earned a Work Ready certificate. Our goal, we're quickly approaching our goal, and I'm sure we're going to need to raise that. All right. The Work Ready certificate, again, is a show of skills that a person can take to an employer. In addition to the Work Ready certificate, something that is outside of it, you don't need to be work habit assessment, but it is available, again, free to cost, for cost. But the work habits assessment is just that, an assessment of a person's carefulness, goodwill, influence, and all of the different characters that you see there up here on the presentation screen. It is an assessment of your soft skills and helps you to determine which skills you may want to work on, okay? So because an employer is looking for not only your skills, you know, your hard skills, math, locating, reading, but they may want to know how you interact with business and people, all right? So it's available online, the Work Keys assessment, at assessment centers like the Technical College System of Georgia. It is optional, all right, not required to earn your Work Ready certificate. Skills gap training, let's look at that briefly. This is skills gap training. Let's say that a person, let me see if my little red dot here it is, earns a 3 in reading for information. They earn a 5 in applied math. They earn a 4 in locating information. But the job they're applying for requires a 4, and that's these green bars here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the job that they're for requires a 6 in applied math and requires a 5 in locating for information. That orange portion, those orange bars there, is what skills gap training will address and help you to train to reach those levels. The Work Ready certificate can act as a common language for education and business because the Work Ready certificate comes out of education. It is proctored by education. And education can take those people who have earned Work Ready certificate and say, here, businesses, this is what we've helped produce. We've trained them traditionally. We've helped them to assess their skills and take skills gap training. Businesses receive the job seeker who has earned the Work Ready certificate. Okay? There's a link there. Benefits to employers. This is why employers want to hire Work Ready, because it can help to improve hiring procedures. For some businesses, the work-ready certificate can become one of the main criteria in hiring. Through job profiles, if a job requires a silver certificate, a person earning a silver certificate becomes qualified. All right. Reduce turnover. When you properly match a person's skills to a job, it reduces turnover. If a person has earned a work-ready certificate, silver certificate, and the job requires a silver certificate, that is a compatible match. Okay. Reduce training costs. Employers can take their training funds and they can actually apply them to people who actually need them. If a person was a work-ready assessed and earned a platinum certificate where their job requires a silver certificate, it would probably not be useful to try to train that person further because they're already qualified. So they can maximize their dollars in training costs. Increased performance and productivity, high employee morale. We have some businesses that the employees go around and they share willingly their work-ready certificate that they've earned. And it's known throughout the company who will be qualified for the next promotion, who becomes eligible because of that work-ready certificate and job profile, right? So job profiles are, it's a job analysis tool developed by ACT, and ultimately it helps to set criteria for a job, and it assigns a certificate level, all right? And this is just a summary here, a final report to management. When that final report gets to management, that job profile is set, all right? And anyone who wants to know more about job profiles or the business aspect of Work-Ready, I can put you in contact with Chris Balcom. He's over our business development department. So how to hire Georgia Work-Ready? It's designed to supplement, as I've said, and is used as an enhancement tool to whatever qualifications or whatever skills that you already have. It can be used in interviews, work history, resumes, references, right? And here's our Work-Ready Connect website. You can actually visit the website and see what jobs are available from what companies that hire Work-Ready. To date, almost 1,000 businesses are on our Work-Ready website that hire or prefer Work-Ready. What businesses are saying? Topan, Inter-America, McDonough, Georgia, right? Quality of the hire has definitely improved. In some cases, it saves us 3 to 4 months of evaluation time. Please visit our Work-Ready Connect website, all right? Our first certified Work-Ready facility down here, First Quality, used to be known as Covidian in Macon, Georgia, okay? So we do have some testimonies. Georgia Power being our business champion. So let's just take a look at Work-Ready regions. Work-Ready regions, Work-Ready communities help to build Work-Ready regions. And you see, of course, the different various regions or counties here, and they fall within specific regions. For instance, we have what we call advanced manufacturing, the Wiregrass region. That's this area right here. Wilcox, Georgia, Coffee County, all right? So it's definitely a multi-layered initiative for the long term. And this is, you saw this earlier, that's just a reminder of how Work-Ready works, right? Our drivers, certified Work-Ready community, certified Work-Ready regions. All right, and that's our website, www.gaworkready.org. Please visit it, and if you have any questions, you can contact myself. All right?
A couple of questions.
All right, I know I'm the only thing between you and lunch, so I'll try to move along here. Thank you, Charles, for passing out our packet of information. This is just something you can take with you, and I'll refer to a couple pieces in it as we go through the rest of the presentation. As Sandra said, my name is Sue Chapman. I am an operations coordinator at the University of Georgia, a faculty member, working in community and economic development. And I am part of the Archway Partnership. The Archway Partnership is an outreach platform that's based at the University of Georgia, and it connects local communities to a full range of university resources. We were actually started as a pilot in 2005 in Moultrie, which is Colquitt County, Georgia. And the goal was to provide business leaders and community leaders with greater access and easier access to higher education resources. And on the flip side of that, we also wanted to provide faculty and students with easier access to communities so that they can work on real-life projects that affect the economic development of the state. The partnership really is a partnership. We ask communities to bring resources to the table as well as the university. The communities drive the process through a facilitated discussion of their needs and priorities, and then we reach into the university system to look for higher ed resources that can help meet those needs. We place in each community an Archway professional, and that's a full-time UGA faculty member. That person lives there on a full-time basis and works there with the local community to help make these connections. That person really wears a lot of different hats. They're a resource broker, they're an organizer of groups, they're a listener, they're a catalyst many times to get things moving. And as you might imagine, many times they end up serving as mediators in community situations because some of the conversations that we have at that community table are not always the easiest ones. The Archway Partnership is really a process. We're not a program area. We're not a project. We may bring projects. We may bring content experts into the community. But really, we just bring the process. And because of our position as an institute of higher education, we're able to be neutral. We provide that third-party platform for those difficult conversations to occur. As I said, we were piloted first in 2005, and after about 2 years, we decided that the model was worthy of further exploration, and we have since expanded to include 8 communities in the state of Georgia. Those are all geographically dispersed. If you look inside your booklet, you'll see a map, and I have one up on the next screen that will show you where we're located. Our communities range from rural areas. Pulaski County, for example, has about 10,000 residents, to urban areas such as Clayton County with almost 300,000 community members. We work in Dalton, where it's a high, well, most manufacturing in the state of Georgia is done in Dalton, as well as Colquitt County, where the most farming is done in the state of Georgia. So there's a wide range of areas that we cover. Now, as the University of Georgia, obviously we have that service on it that is required, mandated as part of our mission. So we feel that the Archway Partnership helps us to contribute to that mission, along with the teaching and research. But the thing that we found is that we're able to engage departments, schools within the university that traditionally haven't been as service-oriented. Now, we've always had cooperative extension. For the last 100 years, they've been serving the state through the University of Georgia and Fort Valley State University. And we've had outreach units such as the Institute of Government, Small Business Development, and Fanning Leadership Institute who, are serving through the Public Service and Outreach by President's Office at the university. But who would think about the English department providing service to the state? Or even the School of Art providing a service other than, making all this wonderful art available. So those are some of the departments and schools that we've been able to reach into, and I'll share some more examples as we talk a little bit more. Well, what we have is a community-driven, community-led process that is organized around a local executive committee, a group of individuals, business and community leaders who come together and make this process happen. That executive committee guides the work plan, supervises the work plan. And we have a steering committee, which is a larger group that's represented by the yellow circle. The steering committee guides the work of what we call issue work groups, or IWGs, as they're represented on the chart. Those are small groups of community volunteers who come together around one issue to try to tackle the the aspects of that issue that were identified through a listening session with the community. In Dalton, for example, Whitfield County, we have an issue work group that focuses on higher ed. And some of the issues they're tackling are to improve the image of technical education. If I ask you to describe what it might be like to work in a carpet mill, what might you say? What's your perception of a carpet mill? Obviously, Dalton is the floor covering capital of the world. Most people think, oh, it's probably dusty, I'm staring at a machine all day, pretty brainless. Is that true? Not anymore.
Automated, high technology.
Yeah. Very clean, very computer-oriented, very high-tech, takes a lot of skills training to work in that industry. But that's not the perception. So the higher ed group is working on changing that perception along with a group that we call the Successful Sustainable Industries Issue Work Group, and trying to convince our high school and middle school students how important it is and what a good job it can be, so that when they graduate from high school, they continue their education through Dalton State or another institution, and then can come back to the community to work. In the middle of all that is that little star that we call the Archway Professional, and that person helps the community to develop their vision, set the goals, and then actually implement the work plan. And I think that's the key that most communities appreciate about that Archway Professional, is that they're the one that helps to implement what the community wants to do, that driving force that keeps things moving. And of course, their main role then, once that work plan is established, is to turn to the institutions of higher ed and say, what can we bring to the table to support this effort? These are the typical community partners, those funders who support what we do in the communities. We have about 50 local funding partners across our 8 communities. Part of our funding obviously comes through the general budget, like all the state funding, through the Board of Regents. But then each of these entities bring dollars to the table to support our efforts as well. And we renew that on an annual basis through a memorandum of understanding. So all the community partners can be interesting at times, as you might imagine, to make sure that they are still willing to stay at the table. But so far we have had great success with keeping everyone engaged. And I showed you the model and gave you a copy of it that we've been using because we know it can be replicated. And these are some of the folks whose names are listed on the right-hand side, the Archway Professionals, who would be willing to talk with you in your local communities about that. They are the folks who do this on a day-to-day basis. We have a fairly small staff at our Athens office, and most of us are not there. We're on the road. But the 4 of us are in the state office, and I'll have my contact information up a little bit later if you have any questions or want to follow up with anything that I've mentioned. But again, on our website is the contact information for the Archway Professionals. And if you have a site close to one of our communities, we'd love to talk with you about the possibility of engaging students and faculty in what we do, or sharing our model with you if you have interest in replicating it on your own. I mentioned students, and they really are the most important part of our process. We involve students in internships, graduate assistantships, special projects, classroom projects, as well as service learning assignments. So we have students working with us all the time. Sometimes it gets to be a little bit overwhelming. And not all of those students come from the University of Georgia. Sometimes it just makes more sense to reach to the institution that's next door and say, can you bring resources to address this need? And again, I'll refer to Dalton State because they have helped in the Whitfield County community with various projects that we've been working on. We have students, in fact, this week from the College of Education who are working with a local camp teaching classes on nutrition. We have had some Dalton State students who surveyed downtown merchants and developed a report for us on what downtown merchants like about having businesses downtown and what needs to be changed. And that was a report that was presented to our Vibrant Downtown Issue Work Group, the folks who are working to revitalize downtown as a place to live, work, and play and get young families back involved in the downtown area. I mentioned the carpet rebranding project that we're working on. One of the interesting ones we did that involved an interdisciplinary approach was in Washington County, which is Sandersville, Georgia. Their regional hospital wanted to enhance their wellness program, and an idea they had was to build a walking trail. And so they turned to us and said, well, what do we do? How do we do this? So we were able to bring landscape architecture students to design the trail, horticulture students did the planning, recommend the planning, and actually do the planting, forestry students who came through and named the Latin names for all the trees and plants and provide a little bit of education to go along with the walking trail. And then community volunteers volunteer their time. We had a fella in the Washington County community who comes through on a regular basis and cleans out. He has access to bulldozers so he can make sure that the erosion is being handled properly, and folks are out using it. It's a great place to just go meet people after work and walk around and get your exercise. So it's kind of a neat way to pull lots of different students together. And we've tried that on several of our projects. We've also worked with Dalton Utilities to help them redesign some stream banks that needed to be restored. We've worked in Sumter County developing some business and marketing plans, doing feasibility studies again. These are mostly done by students, and in the end, there is a deliverable. It's not go work in a company, see what they do for 8 weeks. They have to turn in something at the end. There's some kind of deliverable that's handed back to the community. So it's a little different from your traditional internship. Some of you are probably wondering how in the world we get students out of Athens all the way down 4 hours to Moultrie, or we probably could get them to come to Glenn County. That's where we are right now. There's a little bit of motivation, which you all have figured out, I'm sure. But we do that by making it easy for them to make the contacts that they need to make things happen and to maintain those contacts. Yesterday, I met with our Archway professional who is assigned to this county, and she was telling me about a faculty member who's coming down to work with the community on their Performing Arts Center. It was easier for her to make those connections than it was for the community to just say, who can help us with this? And it's also easier for the faculty to have an organized group to speak to, having to create that group on their own. We also found that if you get the students involved, the faculty will follow. So by offering internships or special projects out there to students, their faculty, advising faculty members or classroom faculty members really got interested in what was going on, and we've established some relationships through that avenue as well. Obviously, it helps to increase instructional support. We all have an emphasis on service learning at this point, trying to get more students involved in service activities. It introduces students to areas of the state where they may not have otherwise had opportunity to see or visit. It helps with grants. Many of the grant programs out there now do require a service component, not just a research component, but it makes it easier for faculty to take advantage of that, and also to community-based participatory research as needed. In fact, we've connected our Moultrie Colquitt County site to the College of Public Health at the University of Georgia, and they just recently have received a multi-year grant to work on childhood obesity. And that just happened to be one of their issues that they had identified through their community discussions, was how do we deal with overweight children in our community? How do we help them? And I just put the slide up just to illustrate that projects can range from creating signage at a state park, and we actually landscaped. This was the new mega ramp for the fishing tournaments that they're having in Hart County. It was part of Governor Perdue's program. And we had landscape students design, graphic artists design the signage, and then Clayton County, we've done some work around establishing a federal health center. So it can vary as widely as the degree programs that are offered by your institution. We have engaged all the schools and colleges at the University of Georgia, except for the new medical school. We hope to get them involved as they kind of get their feet wet. We routinely have about 100 students who are part of the Archway Partnership projects. We have 11 graduate assistants that we pay to work with us, and they represent 9 different disciplines, 9 different colleges on the UGA campus. We do provide travel funds to get students and faculty into the community, and we have worked so far with 12 of our sister schools. So many of you, we probably have talked with you at some point. One thing I will mention is that higher education, wherever we have an Archway partnership and there is another sister institution, the president of that institution sits on our executive committee. So President John Schwinn out of Dalton State is actually a co-chair for our executive committee. The president of Georgia Southwestern is on our executive committee in Americas. President Hines from Clayton State is the chair of our executive committee. And the College of Coastal Georgia, which is here, the president from here sits on our committee as well. Just to kind of sum up, we are community-based, community-led, bottoms-up approach to make it easier and to give folks greater access to higher ed. And probably the most beneficial part to me about my job, which is varied day by day, is what people say about the accomplishments. And that's what I provided to you in our 2010 annual report. It's information about some of the projects that we've worked on, some of the needs that were identified by the community, and it has a few quotes from community members as well as university faculty and students about the experiences that they have had. Here's my contact information, phone and email, and our website address. If you'd like to learn more, I'm happy to talk with any of you as a follow-up, and you can always check out our website or shoot me an email later on. But again, just a different kind of model for community and economic development using higher ed as the base resource. Any questions?